Hey guys, this is Drabble here, and welcome back to Ace Attorney, where we are on the final game of the series, and I'm hoping it ends up really good. One of my friends said that this closes some character arcs, which I am definitely excited to happen. But let's go into this. And I am outside, so it doesn't Turnabout memories. Okay, there's Mia and Ace looking weird. And I have no clue who that other woman in the top left is. Well, let's go into this. Huff huff. How did I get into this mess? What was that? Why? Why did I do that? That girl, you shouldn't see her anymore. Hey, it's none of your business. I'm telling you for your sake, if you continue to see her, it's going to be bad news. You're lying. Just listen to me. There's something you need to know about that girl. Stop it. Don't talk about her like that. Did you punch him in the face? Also, that is a very pink sweater. It wasn't me. I didn't do it. I thought I became a lawyer because of Edgeworth. Is this what this is trying to insinuate? 5 years earlier, Mia Fey, second trial. Interesting. But this sounds more so like Mia got him into being a lawyer rather than Edgeworth, and I don't know how I feel about that. Ooh, it's finally time. Kind of nervous. Ahem. Oh, Mr. Grossberg, good morning. Mia, please calm yourself down. You're going to get yourself arrested for suspicious behavior, you know. What are you talking about? I'm relaxed, Mr. Grossberg. Look at me. I'm relaxed. Let go of my labels. You obviously haven't got the temperament to be a lawyer. I'm so sorry. It's just that I'm so nervous today. Oh, that's right. This is your first time in the big leagues, isn't it? Well, never you fear, my dear. I'm Marvin Grossberg, and at your service. Actually, this is my second time in court. Still, you surprised me. What, with your earnest request last night? Let me handle this case, you suddenly said, and quite forcefully, too. Just found out yesterday about the case I mean. What, and you've already learned all the relevant facts? All about that, you see. I mean, of course I have, I think. Oh dear. In any case, don't let your client see you're so nervous. You see the poor man in the pink sweater over there? That's our client. Is he sick? Good morning there, everybody. Good morning. Try to keep smiling, Mia. I just want to say I'll give it all I've got. Yep, it'll be fine, no problem. Oh, what's wrong? Do you have a cold or something? Actually, it's right. Like the Flying Brothers. People screw it up all the time. No, we asked if you had a cold. And yes, I have a cold. That's what this mask is for. My doc says this way, I won't give it to anyone else. Be kind to others, he says. Okay, this is way too, very too on the nose with, today's times. Right, Mr. Wright. You have nothing to fear in court today. If you are truly innocent, I promise I will save you. Please, let go of my shirt. That's right, he's the one on trial, not you. He's the one who should be nervous. You need to stay strong for your client, Mia. I also want to know what the P on his shirt means. My name is Mia Fey. I'm still pretty new at this lawyer thing. The first time I appeared in court was a year ago. Wait, and this is only your second trial? But that trial traumatized me so badly, I thought I'd never set foot in another courtroom. It's been 1 year since then, and well, here I am again. But this time I'm going to win. For my client, and for myself. Also, hopefully, since this is the tutorial trial, it won't be so bad. Court is now in session for the trial of Phoenix Wright. The defense is ready, Your Honor. Oh, she looks so young. The prosecution is ready, Your Honor, and he looks just as smarmy as before. The defense today is Miss Mia Fey, was it? Yes, Your Honor. Is there a problem? I was under the impression that Marvin Grossberg was to be leading the defense. Yes, well, you see, Mr. Grossberg had a bit of emergency. Isn't he right next to you? Emergency? But isn't that him standing there right next to you? Yes, well, you're just a rookie. Are you sure you can really handle this? Don't let him scare you, Mia. Give him your toughest look. Of course, Your Honor. I think. Well, Mr. Payne, your opening statement, please. Well. Can't believe a veteran like me has to spend his time babysitting a new defense lawyer. Don't worry, little girl. It will all be over soon. What was that all about? Was he trying to trash talk me? Now then, I'd like to proceed with a summary of events on the day in question. The incident occurred on the campus of Ivy University. The murder victim was a student named Doug Swallow. He was a fourth-year student studying pharmacology. Sounds like he was a very bright young man. Yes, well, next we have a photo taken at the scene of the crime. Students discovered the scene shortly after the murder. They found the victim's body. Well, it looks like the pole snapped. It seems more like an accident than anything. And the defendant, who had obviously bungled his getaway. They then called the police. That certainly makes the defendant look suspicious indeed. Very well. The court accepts this photo into the record as evidence. By the way, I can't quite tell the cause of death from this photo. It looks like electrocution. He. The repetition for sadisty is well earned, Your Honor. The truth is that this victim died a rather unusual death. An unusual death? What do you mean, Mr. Payne? Well, perhaps the defense would like to take this question. Huh? A simple question. I thought it might loosen you up a bit. I am genteel, men, if you will. A what? Stand up to him, Mia. Show him what you're made of. Ah, perfect opportunity. Well, what is it? The cause. Go on. Do I need to look at the record? Ooh, cause of death was a fatal electric shock. I was right. Please tell me you know at least this much. I'm so sorry. I didn't get a chance to read through the whole file. Ugh. My hemorrhoids are beginning to act up. Now see here. The details of the case are filed under the court record. But you knew that already, didn't you? Ah, court record. I think I can see that by pressing tab. All the weapons we need can be found in the court record. Take a good hard look at the data there and think carefully before you answer, my dear. Yes, sir. I'll do just that. Gotta stay calm. I can't let that prosecutor get the better of me. The court record. Okay, let's take a look. Now then, will the attorney for the defense please answer the question? What was the cause of death? Electrocution. According to the court record, it was a fatal electric shock. In other words, electrocution. Electrocution? How did such a thing happen? Did the murderer use some type of super powerful stun gun, perhaps? The answer to that will become crystal clear as this trial proceeds, Your Honor. But before that, there is one more vital issue. What's that? Why? Motive, of course. Apparently there was a little bad blood between the victim and the defendant. Bad blood? What do you mean? Oopsie, I'm terribly sorry. You're the defense attorney, so you must know all about it. I shouldn't be stealing your spotlight. Like this? I really don't like this guy's smug attitude. Neither do I. That's Winston Payne for you. He's one smooth operator, if you catch my drift. They don't call him the rookie killer for nothing, you know. Well, I've discharged him twice in court. I'm sure a third time won't be too hard. Now then, let's hear from the defense. What was the source of the bad blood between the victim and the defendant? Would it be in here? Delilah Hawthorne. And this time I would like to see some supporting evidence. Evidence? No need to get all worked up over this. As I said, all our weapons can be found in court record. Find the evidence you need and then shovel it in old Greybeard's face. Yes, sir, into old Greybeard's face. Mr. Grossberg. Try to set a better example for the young lady. Mia, evidence isn't the only thing in the court record. People's profiles are there as well. You can toggle between profiles and evidence with tab, so be sure to go over it all. Now then, let's see what you got. What was the cause of the bad blood between Phoenix Wright and the victim? The reason for the bad blood between the two of them was this woman here. Delilah Hawthorne, is it? Very good, Miss Fay. You seem to have picked up at least this much. This woman is the girlfriend of the defendant, Phoenix Wright. But up until 8 months ago, she was with the victim, Mr. Swallow. Clearly she has some part to play in this story. He's done it again. Before the cross-examination starts, he's already got the judge thinking like he wants. Very well, Mr. Payne. Please call your first witness. If it pleases the court, the prosecution would like to call him Mr. Phoenix Wright. What? The defendant himself? Well, Miss Fay? It's fine. After all, Mr. Wright is innocent, right? The defense has no objection. Very well. The court calls Mr. Phoenix Wright to the witness stand. Witness, please state your name and occupation. Yes, my name is Phoenix Wright. My job is, well, right now I guess I'm a suspect. No, he means what did you do before you were arrested? Oh, achoo. I was a university student. Mr. Wright, I understand that you're suspected in the death of your fellow student, Doug, but I didn't do it. I'm innocent, I tell you. I'm telling you I was. Would the defendant please refrain from passing his cold to the rest of us? Seems the witness has something he wants to say. Well then, Mr. Wright, please tell us about your relation to the victim. Right away, Your Honor. I admit I was there, but I'm not a killer. All I did was find his body. I hardly knew the guy to begin with. Never even talked to that stuck-up British wannabe. Well, we know you talked. I see. So you hardly knew the victim. Right, like I said, I'm not a killer. Ooh, looks like the judge understands. You're being naive, you know. Too naive. Huh? He. Seems that you've forgotten one small thing, young lady. And that would be? This witness still has to undergo something called Crocs Examination. Cross-examination? He's right, and it's the defense's duty to carry out the cross-examination. The purpose is to determine if a witness' testimony contains any contradictions. Contradictions? If the witness is lying, their statement will conflict with the court record. But Mr. Wright is my client. Even if he is your client in court, all lies must be struck down. As a lawyer, that is your duty, you see. What does he mean by that? Is he saying that testimony just now? That there was a lie? Contradiction? Now then, for cross-examination, if you please, Miss Fay. Please, Mr. Wright, tell me you haven't been lying. He has been lying. You wouldn't do that to me, would you? Well, they did talk, so technically he has been lying. Let me save it here before we get too far. I admit I was there. When you say there, you mean the place where the victim was murdered? Yeah, sort of. The place where something happened, anyway. Something? You can't hide what happened. We have photographic evidence. Achoo. Anyway, Mr. Wright, what were you doing at the scene of the crime? I thought you said you didn't know the victim, Mr. Swallow. It was just a coincidence. We bumped into each other by accident. A coincidence, huh? But I'm not a killer. All I did was find his body. Then how did you bump into him? What? You say you found the body? So who called the police? Huh? Unfortunately, it was some other students that notified the police. Other students? That's correct. They were witnesses. Witnesses who saw the defendant standing there next to the body, in shock. So was Phoenix in shock? Is that what you're saying? But what? Is that true, Mr. Wright? Could you stop sneezing every time you're in a bind? Well, it's true that I was pretty shocked when I found the body, but I hardly knew the guy to begin with. I highly doubt that. So you didn't know his face or even his name, right? Right, well, no. That is, I mean, so, which is it? Did you know him or not? Now, see here, you can't avoid answering the question by sneezing all day. Well, I guess I did know his name. News to me. Why didn't he tell me that before? I heard he used to date Dolly. Who is this Dolly person? Ah, yes, that would be the defendant's lover, Miss Dahlia Hawthorne. Oh, I see. Ah, young love. So bittersweet. But that's all I knew about him. I never even talked to that stuck-up British wannabe. How do you know he's British? Mr. Wright, you stated the following in your testimony. I hardly knew the guy to begin with. That's right. I mean, why would I even... But that doesn't even sound right. If you hardly knew him, then why would you say that the victim was a stuck-up British wannabe? Well, Mr. Wright? No, it wasn't me. I'm not a killer, I swear. Answer the question, dude. Mr. Wright, I will give you an opportunity to revise your testimony. How is it that you knew the victim was, as you put it, a British wannabe? Yes, well... He was always walking around with a huge Union Jack on the back of his shirt. Did you see it at the crime scene? The Union Jack, I mean. Yes, that's right. I saw it at the crime scene. That's why I figured he must love British stuff, see? It's true, cross my heart. I swear I didn't do it. It's acting fishier than salmon I ate last night. Can I ask you something, Miss Fay? Yes, Your Honor? What is it now? Who is this person anyway? This Union Jack fellow? Oh my gosh. The Union Jack is the name of the United Kingdom's flag. Oh, I see. So you mean like the stars and stripes, right? As usual, Your Honor, your insight astounds me. Hey, something just occurred to me. Isn't there something strange about this just now? Mia, there's a contradiction here. Mr. Grasberg, quickly now, show that boy you mean business. With evidence, I mean. Okay, Mia, check the court record carefully. Well, my dear, do you think you can manage on your own from this point? Well, I don't see a Union Jack. I think I can handle it. 1 year ago, I was in a courtroom just like this. I can do it. I can handle this myself. You mustn't try to bite more than you can chew, Mia. I'll be fine. I know what I have to do. Remember, you can always press him to get more information. Oh, and one more thing. When you're going to state a contradiction, make sure you present some definitive proof. Okay, Mia, one more time, from the very beginning of his testimony. I admit I was there, not the killer. I never even wanted to talk to that British Stuckabee. He was always walking around with a huge Union Jack on the back of his shirt. Where is that Union Jack? Are you certain you saw the Union Jack? Yeah, I'm sure. It was right there on his back. Miss Faye, is there some point to this line of questioning? Your Honor, please take another look at the crime scene photo. As you can see, there's absolutely nothing on the victim's back. Wait a minute. He's wearing a leather jacket. The Union Jack was on the back of the t-shirt he was wearing. I was under the impression that you accidentally came across the body. But if that really is the case, then you wouldn't know that, would you? You have no idea at all what he was wearing underneath that jacket. Mr. Wright, you've been lying to me. Please forgive me. Mia, you've made our client cry. Let him. That P on his chest doesn't stand for Phoenix anyways. Can't believe I trusted him. Mr. Wright was all around. He. That was an impressive bit of Crocs Examination. Thank you for uncovering the defendant's lies for me. Quite clear that this man did not simply stumble upon the scene of the crime. Uh-oh, did I go too far? By the way, Mr. Wright, you seem to have a rather bad cold. Have you taken any medicine for it? Yeah, I took some, but... Was the medicine that you took over-the-counter brand called Cold Killer X? Yeah, that's right. It kills colds good. Hey, wait a second. How did you know I'm a big fan of Cold Killer X? He. Would you happen to have that medicine with you right now? Well, actually, I seem to have lost it somewhere. He lost it? Does it even have anything to do with this case? Mr. Wright, shall I tell you where your cold medicine is right now? Huh? Your Honor, I'd like to show you another photo from the crime scene. What's this? It's the victim's hand. It's Cold Killer X. Yes, but even I got a bottle of Cold Killer X in my apartment. I'm sorry, but I'm afraid that argument won't work. There's no doubt as to who this bottle of Cold Killer X belongs to. Especially since Mr. Wright's fingerprints are all over it. What? Sensing its murderous intent, Mr. Swallow must have picked up the bottle of medicine, dropped by Mr. Wright and hid it in his hand. Purpose in doing so can only have been to identify his killer as Phoenix Wright. This is very weird. Order in the court. Your Honor, I'd like to present this photo and bottle as evidence. Very well. The court will accept them into the record. The watch at time of death in the cold killer. Also, the victim's wristwatch was broken. Broken? Yes, it ceased functioning, and a large wave of electricity passed through it. Well, Mr. Wright, do you have some kind of explanation for all this? This is really bad. Oh, my buttocks. My poor hemorrhoids. Why are you going on about that, dude? The truth is, I went because he called me. He was in the pharmacology department, so he agreed to meet at 2:45 behind that building. 3 p.m. That says like just after 3, I believe. We talked for a bit, and then around 3 we split up. Then later, when I went back, I found him lying there. Been taking cold killer for the last 2 or 3 days. I lost my bottle of it around lunchtime on the day of the accident. So around noon, you were saying? Mr. Wright, that completely different from the testimony you gave previously. I'm sorry, Your Honor. I was afraid you wouldn't believe the truth. You'll forgive me if I say I highly find your current testimony even more credible. Miss Faye, please begin your cross-examination. Oh, please, Mr. Wright, don't tell any more lies. I'm surprised she took him on as a student, considering all of this. Yep. Let me do this real quick. The truth is, I went because he called me. Had you ever met the victim before then? No, never. But that day he called me up and told me he wanted to talk about Dolly. And this Dolly person is Delilah, dude. It's kind of embarrassing. She's my, sweetheart. Oof. What was that for, Mia? Oh, I'm so sorry. I just felt like slapping something all of a sudden. Delilah Hawthorne was also the lover of the murder victim Doug Swallow. Before she met Mr. Wright, that is. So it was one of those nasty love triangles, I see. He was in the pharmacology department, so we agreed to meet at 2:45 behind that building. Was it Mr. Swallow who indicated you should meet at 2:45? Yeah, and we were both there right on time. You said the victim was in the pharmacology department, correct? Yeah, he was studying how to manufacture and improve pharmaceuticals. Everyone called him the alchemist of IVU. An alchemist, I see. Gotta admit, it was a little suspicious. He had a whole laboratory and everything. It was filled with chemicals and strange machines that run on high voltage electricity. Ho ho, how fascinating. Sounds like he was quite an ambitious young man. What do I do? Maybe I should ask him for more details? About the timing. So you're absolutely certain that you met at 2:45? Yeah, pretty sure. That's the time class ends. But they're always doing experiments, so it doesn't matter much. Experiments? Yeah, those pharmacology guys are always in the lab whipping up something. Well, looks like he's right about the time anyway. Witness, let's go on with your testimony. I want to ask about where. Let's move past all of this. Yeah, I think we should ask him more. I was wondering if you could tell us a bit more about the pharmacology department. Well, okay, sure. I don't know all that much, though. A little bit earlier in your testimony, you said something interesting. You said the department uses strange machines that run on high voltage electricity? That's right, and they sure look dangerous. You use non-standard voltages, so there's a high voltage cables everywhere. In the picture it was snapped, so... High voltage cables? Yeah, there were electrical poles set up all around the building. The high voltage cables run overhead around the roof. Finally, I think we're getting somewhere. We talked for a bit, and then around 3 we split up. So what was it you were talking about? You know, that maybe we should hang out again sometime. Hang out again sometime? I wish that were true. That also doesn't sound true. Then later, when I went back, I found him lying there. So you say you went back? Yeah, that's when I found the body. Yes, but why did you go back in the first place? Weren't you angry with him? Well, that's right, I was. Then why, Mr. Wright? Why did you go back there? Thought maybe we could make up. Really? Judging by the atmosphere, I'm pretty sure no one is buying this. They've been taking Cold Killer X for the last 2 or 3 days. That's rather unusual to catch a cold this time of year, isn't it? Yeah, I always get a little careless when the weather starts to warm up. Guess I shouldn't sleep with the window open this early in spring, huh? I suppose common sense is not always common. So, did anyone else know that you were taking cold medicine? Well, I always took one after meals. So I'm pretty sure all my friends knew about it. But I lost my bottle of it around lunchtime, the day of the accident. On the day of the incident, what did you do for lunch? Huh? What does that have to do with anything? You can never be too sure. I always eat with Dolly, just the two of us. Dolly's homemade lunches are just the greatest. Her mini omelets are magically delicious. Why did you punch me in the jaw? Oh, I'm sorry. I just felt like hurting someone all of a sudden. I think that's enough for now. So the defendant and the victim met at approximately the time of his death, and then the defendant returned to the scene for some unknown reason. Not entirely convinced about his explanation about the medicine bottle either. Let me be frank here, Mr. Wright. Your testimony cannot be trusted. What do you mean? He. I knew it was too much work for a girl. However, there's one mystery that still remains. There is, Your Honor? The electricity. How the murder was carried out, of course. Just how was the victim electrocuted? I don't believe the murder weapon has been produced yet, correct? Well, that is, you are correct, Your Honor. So how exactly was Mr. Swallow killed? By the cables breaking. If I could somehow establish how it was done, maybe it could still come out of this mess smelling like a rose. I think I can do it. I'm going to save just in case, though. Your Honor? Yes, Miss Faye? I believe that if we were to piece together everything we've heard up until now, we should be able to solve the mystery of how Mr. Swallow died. That would be most impressive. He. Quite the brass statement, coming from a rookie. But even a beginner like you must understand the basic rules of the court, yes? And attorneys must be able to substantiate their arguments with evidence. Of course I know that. Actually, I had totally forgotten about that. Well, good thing, Mia, that I didn't. Well then, Miss Faye, tell me what you've got. Show me how you believe this victim was electrocuted. This is... yeah. As for the cause of death, I say this picture captures it quite well. What? But there's nothing that even remotely resembles a murder weapon here. I'm afraid the defense is going to explain this in a bit more detail. Miss Faye, where exactly in this photo is the murder weapon? This is... well, naturally, it's right here. That's... what is that? A severed electrical cable, I believe, Your Honor. Remember the testimony we've heard? The machines that pharmacology students use in their experiments require high voltage. And because of that, there are special high voltage cables strung up everywhere. So then the high voltage cable... yes, the high voltage cable is the cause of death. That is the most likely explanation. That certainly sounds plausible. Well, Mr. Payne, what do you have to say about this? Well, I believe some praise is in order. Don't toy with me, old man. Now, the victim's cause of death may indeed have been a high voltage cable. However, I want you to think about what that really implies. The only one who had the opportunity to use the cable as a murder weapon was the defendant, not if it was broken. And he also would have been electrocuted. That much is certainly true. Yes, and that's not all. We have proof. Irrefutable proof that will establish that Mr. Wright was the murderer. You do? Well, what is it? His fingerprints. Fingerprints? You mean the defendant's fingerprints were on something besides the medicine bottle? Let's take another look at the crime scene photo. As you can see, the victim is wearing a leather jacket. As you may know, leather holds fingerprints quite well. You mean... Yes, it was quite clearly imprinted on the chest area of the victim's jacket. So he tried to save him when he came up. That doesn't mean anything. The palm print of the defendant's very own hand. What? I can only think of one way Mr. Wright could have left a print like that. Intent to murder, he squarely pushed the victim towards the electrical cable. Yeah, but the inside buildings would have been weird. I mean, sure they were fighting beforehand, but that's no way he would have known, I don't think. Order, order, order. That's enough. I think we can conclude that there's no reason to continue with this cross-examination. Stick a fork in us, we're done. Mr. Gressberg, the hemorrhoids never lie. The show is over, Mia. I knew that boy was guilty the first time I saw him. No, you're wrong. Mr. Wright is innocent. No further evidence is required to convince me of this man's guilt. Your Honor, at this time I am prepared to render a verdict in this case. Do you have something further to add, Miss Fay? Is that what you want, Mr. Wright? You still haven't told us the truth, the whole truth. If you don't say something now, the judge is going to hand down his verdict. But I can't. I just can't say it. If I told you what really happened, then I'd be... It's okay, Mr. Wright. I'm your attorney. You can trust me. Miss Fay? No matter what it is you have to say, I believe in you and I'll represent you to the very end. Also, why are you no longer hiding your face? That's very unsanitary. We've already established the defendant's guilt. There's no further need for him to say anything. Wait a minute, Mr. Wright. I'll tell you what really happened. But I've already told you, Mr. Wright. There's no need to further Be quiet, dude. I did it. Did you? I'll admit it, I pushed him. It's my fault. The girl, you shouldn't see her anymore. Hey, it's none of your business. I'm telling you for your sake. If you continue to see her, it's going to be bad news. You're lying. Just listen to me. There's something you need to know about that girl. Stop it. Don't talk about her like that. What you just said, was that the truth? Yes, I was afraid that if I told the truth, everyone would think I was murderer for sure. Well, as things currently stand, we all absolutely convinced you are. But please give me one more chance to explain. This time I swear, I'll tell the whole truth. It'll be okay, won't it, Miss Fay? I believe in you. Oh, thank you. Still can't believe it. He really did push the victim. Oh, it feels like my hemorrhoids are doing the Harlem Shake. Was this localized recently? Like real recently? That guy, he was talking about Dolly. I lost my temper and gave him a shove. But then how did he end up on his front? At that moment, I heard some kind of loud noise. A little while after I left, I started to get worried. So I went back, but he was just lying there, dead. If you pushed him onto his back, how did he end up flipped around? Well, the explanation was really quite simple. When you pushed him, Mr. Swallow flew back and touched the electrical cable. He died from the shock, and that, as they say, is that. Simple explanation indeed. At the time of the incident, a light rain had been falling. Wet from the rain, the victim was more easily electrocuted. No, he had an umbrella. But when I pushed him, there weren't any electrical cables nearby. If there had been something like that, even I would have noticed it. That's true. Even a doofus like him couldn't miss that. Miss Faye? Let me warn you right now that if your cross-examination doesn't yield any new facts, I intend to deliver my verdict without further delay. Are we clear on that? Yes, Your Honor. Don't give up, Mia. If he is innocent, there must be some kind of evidence somewhere that will prove it. That guy who's talking bad about Dolly. So what kinds of things did Mr. Swallow say to you? He said all sorts of terrible things about Dolly. He said that she was a bad girl. Is that all? Yep. Well, Miss Faye, you heard him yourself. Oh boy, you're not doing yourself any favors here, Mr. Wright. Please don't make this hard for me than it already is. Anyway, after he said that, I lost my temper and gave him a shove. Can you tell me about what happened in a little more detail? That guy, he just said what he wanted to say to me. And then he put on the jacket he was holding and started to leave. That's when I lost my temper and flew into a furious frenzy. I just gave him a light, gentle shove to the chest. And when you did that, there were no severed cables anywhere to be seen? Right, there was nothing like that at all. But is it possible that you merely overlooked it? Well, I guess it's possible. What are you doing? Don't let that guy steamroll you over it like cheap asphalt. I believe what's important here is the moment the push occurred. Let's continue on with the testimony, witness. At that moment, I heard some kind of loud noise. A loud noise? And what would you say that loud noise was, Mr. Wright? I'm not sure, but it was really loud. It was like snap, you know? Come to think of it, I wonder what that was. He. Clearly, Your Honor, it was the sound of the victim being electrocuted. You're not qualified to decide that. What should I do? I'm treading on some dangerous ground here. More details. Mr. Wright, that loud noise you heard may be extremely important. Try to remember what it was. How do I put it? It was like a sharp crack. Could it have been? Yes, could it have been? Hurry up and tell us. When I pushed him, he dropped the umbrella he was holding. He fell right on top of it, and it broke. That's probably the noise I heard. An umbrella, huh? And did that umbrella belong to the victim? Yeah, it was a plastic umbrella, cheap and frail, kind of like the owner. Then again, I wish I had any kind of umbrella. I was totally soaked to the bone. Miss Faye? What do you think? Is there something important in that testimony just now? Well, we see a broken umbrella in This is it, Mia, the new information you've been waiting for. Of course it's important. No, this cheap umbrella is more than important, it's vital. I officially want it entered into the testimony. How perfectly fitting. Flimsy information for a flimsy lawyer. The court agrees to the defense's request. Witness, please add that bit about the cheap umbrella to your testimony. After I shoved him, he fell down on top of his cheap umbrella. So Mr. Swallow fell on top of his umbrella, and you are certain of this? Yeah, it was right there under him. Which means, how did the umbrella get away? Actually, if I hadn't been under him, I was planning on borrowing it for myself. The umbrella, you mean? Well, yeah, you see I was wearing this sweater here. Dolly stayed up late for nights at a time knitting it for me. I didn't want the rain to dampen the handmade symbol of her love. My stomach is not being used as your personal soccer ball, Mia. I'm so sorry. Continue on with your testimony, witness. A little while after I left, I started to get worried. After you shoved the victim, did you leave the scene right away? Yes, I did. I admit it. I was furious. You left without even checking Mr. Swallow's condition? Well, yeah, but like I said, I got worried about him later. So I went back, but he was just lying there, dead. At that time, did you see anyone else at the scene of the crime? No, nobody. Geez, could that stupid cough possibly sound any phonier? In that case, it's very hard to believe someone else could have been the murderer. Unless you can find something that shows his innocence from the testimony, my dear. I'm afraid the judge will make his final decision with no remorse whatsoever. Yes, sir. Right now I need more info that will help me turn some of contradictions. Okay, my main thing is... Wait, the umbrella wasn't under him. I lost my temper and gave him a shove. After I shoved him, he fell down on top of his cheap umbrella. Yeah, in the picture, his umbrella's over there, not under him. So let's go with this. Why didn't you testify about the umbrella from the very beginning? Come on, if I hadn't mentioned that, I would have been able to counter the prosecution's arguments earlier. What do you mean by that? Take another look at the crime scene photo. According to Mr. Wright, the victim fell on top of his umbrella. However, if you look closely, the umbrella is nowhere near the victim. Actually, it's by the electrical pole. You're absolutely right. The conclusion here is obvious. When the defendant left, the victim moved from where he fell. In other words, after he was pushed by the defendant, Mr. Swallow was still alive. Order. Victim. He moved? Mr. Payne, the umbrella in this photo, where is it now? Well, it was collected by the police at the crime scene. I want it presented as evidence immediately. But the umbrella could have simply been blown there by the wind. According to the testimony, the victim fell on top of the umbrella. There's simply no way it could have been blown there by the wind. But I know this matter of the umbrella seems relatively trivial, but as long as the smallest doubt remains, I cannot render final judgment. No. Yeah. Too bad, dude. I'm still of the opinion that if Phoenix would have done something with the cord, considering that he was wet and without an umbrella, he too also should have been electrocuted. I must say, I still find it hard to believe that a huge hole has been blown into the prosecution's case by the defendant's testimony. Well done, Mia. Hee. I don't like this. Mr. Payne, what are you chuckling about? Pardon me, Your Honor. It seems I was expecting too much of a free ride. It was foolish to think I could establish guilt through cross-examination alone. I'm afraid I don't follow what you're saying. Possibly it's time for part 2 of the trial. Let me guess, you have another witness. Exactly, and this witness's testimony will be incontrovertible. Well, who is this witness? Is it Dolly? Miss Delilah Hawthorne. Delilah Hawthorne? You don't mean Dolly? I do, Your Honor. The defendant's very own lover is a witness to the whole thing. That's right. She was at the crime scene when the murder took place. The Then how did no one see her? What? I'm sorry to break the bad news to you, my dear. Bad news? You couldn't be more wrong. Actually, I've been waiting for this. You can't be serious. Mia, what do you mean by that? I think this is a good point for us to stop at. Court will now enter a 20-minute recess. Afterwards, we will listen to the testimony of Miss Delilah Hawthorne. Great. Miss Faye, I'm sorry about what happened back there. It's alright. At least you told us the truth in the end, Mr. Wright. Yeah, so I guess I can start to relax then, huh? Relax, my boy. You can't be serious after hiding such important facts. But the next witness is my Dolly, right? She'll save me. I just know she will. Why do you think that? Huh? What do you mean? She's the love of my life. That's why. The love of your life, huh? Would you mind telling me more about you and Miss Delilah Hawthorne? Sure, no problem. Dolly and I, we first met about 8 months ago right here in this very courthouse. Actually, I'm studying to be a lawyer on the side. Anyway, one day, she and I just bumped into each other in the reading room downstairs. That's why I really think it was fate that brought us together. As soon as I first set eyes on her, I knew she was the one for me. Oh, here, take a look at this. She gave this to me the day we met as a symbol of our love. The day of. She had been wearing it around her neck that day, but then she took it off, but before she gave it to me, she said, I want you to carry this. So she gave it to you as a present, I see. This darling little bottle is filled with memories of my darling little Dolly. Certainly is a little bottle, all right. It makes me so happy. I show it to everyone I meet. I want to share my happiness with the whole world. I wonder if the victim has a similar one. Anyway, so after that, you and Miss Hawthorne started dating? Yeah, but she's so shy. Every time I see her, she always says the same thing to me. Please give it back now. What a strange girl, asking for a present back like that. Almost as if she doesn't want to be associated with you. By the way, Mr. Wright, the day you first met Delilah Hawthorne 8 months ago, it wouldn't happen to have been on August 27th, would it? Huh? Yeah, it was. How did you know? This happened on August 27th, right here in this courthouse. What's this? A newspaper clipping? Let's see. Murder in the courthouse. Murder? What are you reading there? Let me see that. Oh, I see. Mia, I think I understand what you're trying to say. I think I understand why you suddenly took such a keen interest in this case. You believe there's some connection between these two cases, am I right? Unless he knew and then he was trying to tell Swallow knew, trying to tell Phoenix what was up. She was there, had to get rid of one dude who knew, but then at the same time would be able to get rid of another dude. So are we saying that Dolly killed both people? And she was just like doing, like she was giving him the necklace to hide the evidence, I'm assuming? I hope you don't mind, Mr. Grossberg. I need to finish this myself. Ah, yes, but I'm afraid what you have will not be enough, my dear. I'll go have a look in the downstairs reading room and see what else I can find. Thank you. I want to do whatever I can to be of help to you, Mia. Well, looks like recess is about over. We better all get moving. I guess so. That recess sure seemed longer than 20 minutes, though. Interesting, so our precious love of our life, Dolly, might in fact be the murderer. Although this did help clear up Mia wasn't out of nowhere the person who convinced him to be a lawyer. I guess like at the end of this, she just decided to take him under her wing, I suppose. But yeah, I'm definitely at the point of thinking that Dolly is our murderer. ×2, I suppose. And that necklace that she was so adamant that she'd get back is like a clue to the previous murder. That's the only thing that's making sense. And then that somehow Swallow found out about it, trying to tell Phoenix about it, but he was too blinded by love to actually believe it. So that's what I think is going on. But we will figure that out next time, and I'll see you guys later. Bye!